G'day ladies and gentlemen, Phil here, welcome to a StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm cast. We've got a PvZ set coming up for you today. This is of course continuing on our little series of matches that I am casting from IEM Katowice, just from the replay pack that was released shortly after the event took place, about a week ago now actually. It's been... wow, that week has gone so quickly. But yeah, we've had a bunch of games that have come through. Hopefully you've been able to check them all out. If you haven't, please do have a look around and watch some of these matches. I've got maybe 2 more sets after this one coming up, so hopefully you'll be able to check out all this stuff. I'm trying to do the ones that weren't already broadcast, so hopefully... well, most of the open bracket wasn't really broadcast, apart from like the final couple of sets, I believe, so... hopefully this is all relatively new, and you'll be able to see some cool stuff. But speaking of cool stuff, our Protoss player here, as the blue player for Team Liquid, it is none other than MaNa. He's a Polish Protoss, of course, who's certainly been around for quite a while, has won quite a few tournaments, of course, one of the big ones being the DreamHack that he took, and has always been a force to be reckoned with. Plays a generally pretty solid style. You don't see too many crazy things come out from MaNa, but is always very capable of doing all sorts of things, and we'll get to see what he is up to today against his fellow countryman, also from Poland. It is none other than Acer's Nerchio. Now, Nerchio has been around for quite a while, actually played Brood War for quite a while as well. I actually found out, I was having a quick look at his Wikipedia, and I found out he was like a C+ level player on iCup, which is kind of funny because that's where I was for one time, so kind of felt good being like, oh my god, one time I was as good as Nerchio, and I was like, yeah. But anyway, we'll see what he gets up to here. He's actually going to take the spawning pool very quickly. In terms of like in contrast with this map, normally you see two players are just quite happy to throw down both of their expansions and grab a third hatch before the pool. It's just a nice economic build, but this time he is going to make sure he's playing it safe with the spawning pool and then of course that hatchery as well. MaNa is actually, both players are going to be lucky enough to scan out their opponent straight away. MaNa just coming up here, he'll see the pool and say, alright, he's playing a very safe game, I'm not going to be able to do anything too crazy right at the start. And Nerchio, wow, that angle, can you believe that Nexus just missed the Overlord there? So Nerchio doesn't actually know where his opponent is just yet. I presume that, yeah, the probe path actually took it out of the sight range of the Overlord, so Nerchio is only just figuring out that his opponent's over here. He's gonna, as you can see, just double check down towards the Nexus there. Normally you kind of want to see that. I think the angle just slightly missed out on that. It seriously would have been just a really small amount of distance that he would have had to go up to see that. But MaNa is going to go for a gateway based opening after he goes Nexus first, so this is quite a greedy build from our Protoss player as well. Of course, you know, as we mentioned, this map, given the large size of this map, being the largest map in the map pool, is easily able to... You can be very greedy, and it's difficult to punish. Now, one thing that that we will see here is that Nerchio is going to get inside, so he's going to be able to have a quick poke about. He's going to see that the cyber core at the front. Did not see that probe come off to the side, so maybe we'll see some hidden tech over there. Mothership core will pop out. One of the links stays inside the main base. The other one goes down towards the natural. Tries to put some harassment on these probes here. Is he going to get one? It looks like no, he's not going to get... I don't think he's going to get any probes here. The Mothership core will come across. One of the extra lings will get inside the main. Just having a quick look through. Doesn't actually find anything important, of course, because at this time, MaNa's only just putting down his next little piece of tech, and it is going to be a forge. So we've got a pretty... I mean, this is nothing too crazy. You'd expect this is going to be an expansion build here from MaNa. Yeah, he's just clearing out the third base. Wants to make sure there's no extra lings that are going to be holding up this base here. And with 10 lings on the way, Nerchio should be able to try and put some harassment on. But I mean, you know, you'll just get your standard sort of setup, I'd assume, from MaNa. If he does look to head down here, you know, you'll have your Nexus, your pylons, and then like a cannon in here, and then of course the gateways at the front. So it's a very predictable kind of little Tetris setup of buildings there to make sure that the third base is all well and protected. +1 to weapons on the way, And now we'll see that Nerchio himself is also going to get his economy online. Up to 37 drones at this point. A few more just popping out right now. Third base is also up, just getting a few drones here and there just to try and get that nice and saturated. Lynx are going to check across the opposite side of the map and see what they can find. They will see this third base and we should be able to force a cancel. Yeah, that's just enough Lynx, I think, and the Mothership Core is not going to do enough damage. Maybe a force field or two could save it, but no, it cancels that and has to re-drop the Nexus. So just, you know, 100 minerals lost, and what did we lose for that? Like 1 ling, 2 lings maybe, I think. So that's not too bad at all. I mean, that's a great investment there for Nerchio. So he's slowed down his opponent's third and is able to recognize that it is going to be a quick third base build here around about, you know, sort of the 7:30 mark. It's not the quickest, but it's not the slowest either. So Nerchio will be able to you know, take some time in terms of preparing his tech. As we can see, we've got +1 to carapace. The hatchery is just switching over to a lair right now. Ling speed is only, well, pretty much just starting now. He's put all of his gas has gone into getting some of his tech ready to go. So getting the lair up so that he can get his roach speed, you'd presume, also making hydras available. And the Phoenix is just going to scout through. Just an hallucinated Phoenix. We'll see that the spawning pool is just still finishing up that Ling speed, which is quite slow for a normal sort of timing. But either way, he'll know that, well, MaNa will be able to see from his perspective that he's got all the time in the world as well. So Nerchio's not really overcommitting to this big play here. He's not trying to make a massive amount of lings that you commonly see to try and kill off a quick third base. He's just making a reasonable amount of lings on the ground just to make sure that he has some presence and he's able to at least lock his opponent in here. So what you probably want to see here from Nerchio is just holding up both of these sides so that MaNa, if he wants to push out, he at least gets seen before Nerchio is able to get those lings out of there. But ling speed is just about to complete. You may even see Nerchio try and throw a ling inside to see if he can scout out what's going on. But it is important to note that Nerchio has not really seen what's going on. He can see that there's some gateways at the front. We didn't see any tech inside the main base, so he's still a little bit unsure of what's going on, and that's why we are just sort of going straight up to those hydras. They provide you with a good way to deal with most forms of attack. You can deal with gateway pressure, you can also deal with other forms of like blink-based stuff, which is actually what we're going to see here from MaNa. It looks like we are going to get a +2 blink-based strategy from our Protoss player. He's now going to push across. This is very, very daring to push across this this creep here. And also, speaking of daring, that Hydralisk then, what is that doing out in the middle of nowhere? But the Mothership will be forced to recall back. The Hydras and the Lynx surrounding that straight away. So the push is thwarted for the moment. The gateways back at home are now just flowering open. We've got some more Stalkers on the way. And MaNa is probably just going to be stuck over his corner of the map for the time being. Like, I don't think... Yeah, there's not really enough Hydras here. We can see that there's a lot of drones coming out, so Nerchio is just going to, again, try and contain his opponent. Doesn't want to let him push out to a fourth base or get too much tech rolling. Just wants to contain him for the time being to make sure that his own economy, including this fourth base, can get up and running. So I don't think Nerchio really wants to attack here. This is a really dangerous position. This this choke point here, you've got multiple choke points here in this section, not to mention the tall grass, which can be quite annoying as well, allowing MaNa to really set up some great force fields here. So I think that Nerchio is just going to sit back for the moment, and MaNa is going to do the same thing. Has a Warp Prism now on the way. Keep in mind that we do have +2 to weapons for MaNa, whereas for Nerchio, just the +1 on the carapace. So he hasn't actually gone too hard into his upgrades just yet. That one Evo chamber not really providing him with a huge amount of upgrade ability at the moment. But MaNa will scout that there is a hive on the way, and we can see that there is also a spy coming through. So Nerchio, in fact, there is a second Evo chamber. Let's see. Oops. Looks like he's going to be saving up some of his gas. So we've either got a big muta switch coming, or perhaps we'll get some Corruptors out to... I don't know if there's... there are some Colossi coming, but we're way away from that, so I'm not actually too sure if Nerchio is going to go straight up to Corruptors or Mutas just yet. But +3 to weapons is around about a third of the way done here for MaNa. Colossi has been built back at home. We've also got his third base all good to go with in terms of saturation. 74 probes out for MaNa at this point. 79 drones around for Nerchio, so he has certainly got his own great economy here. MaNa's now going to come in for some harassment, dropping off some zealots in this 4th base, and should be able to tear apart most of the drones that are in here and get out of there with that warp prism. Just get out of range. There he goes. Gets out of there for the moment. Lings, meanwhile, are looking to clean up that proxy pylon across the map, but MaNa's got some decent damage done. He's killed off a couple of drones here. He's pulled all of these units back across the map, and this has bought him some more time. He's still getting out some more Colossi. He has scouted out that there is a Greater Spire now being morphed in at the 3rd base here for Nerchio. Nerchio with the really interesting positioning of all of his buildings here. You've got a Greater Spire over here. You've got a Hydra Den in the middle of nowhere, literally. And he's now got a 3rd Evo chamber as well. So it looks as if Nerchio is just trying to prepare. It looks as if we will get Broodlords coming out from him with that Greater Spire just all the way. But the Broodlords are not going to have any upgrades. These Hydras have barely any upgrades. We've got 1-1 on them for the moment. And, you know, as soon as there are 2 or more Colossus out, it's going to be very hard for the Hydras to get some damage done. We do have Blink as well, so the Stalkers can jump under Broodlords, and even further to that, we're going to have 3 Stargates able to produce. We've got a couple of Void Rays on the way, and even the Fleet Beacon has been constructed, and that's just about to finish up. So MaNa is going to have all the tech available to deal with pretty much most of this army. I'm not really too sure what Nerchio is going to be able to do here. It's kind of just like the tech path that is chosen has unfortunately been scouted out too well, and now with the Broodlords on the way, 8 Broodlords, this certainly could get some damage done. A lot of these guys on the way. In fact, 9 in total are going to be coming through, so that's a lot of Broodlords and barely any anti-air protection here apart from the Hydras. But as we said before, when you have 1 Colossus, it's really good. When you have 2, it's even better, like a lot better. Like, of course, double the amount of better. But I mean, they really just amplify themselves when you add them in. And now with these Tempests that are done, 3 Tempests are going to be out here. A couple of Void Rays just thrown in for good measure. And I don't know how this is going to go for Nerchio. One big thing that we will be interested to see is where the battle takes place. If Nerchio brings out his opponent and is able to attack him here with a large concave, then sure, he might actually have a good position to attack into. But these very narrow choke points on this map are very dangerous for Zerg to attack into. So here we go. The Lings are actually just being destroyed straight away. And speaking of which, one of the Tempests got a little bit gung-ho and got straight into the battle there. Right now, as we can see, Nerchio is going to be able to get some damage done with those Broodlords firing from afar. No photon, oh sorry, the photon overcharge is up and running. We can now see the couple of Zealots have made it into the 4th base as well, trying to get some damage done. The Tempests are now trying to target fire down the Broodlords. Just a few shots from 3 Tempests and those Broodlords will go down. Hydra's being caught behind the force fields as well. The Colossi are doing their damage, and that is going to be it. Yeah, just really a straight up easy counter there for MaNa, and I just think the positioning wasn't the greatest. I perhaps would have liked to see Nerchio maybe just be a little bit more passive with where he was attacking from. Like maybe if you were to, as I said, maybe if you were to attack from somewhere like here instead, you would have had a little bit of a better space, but that's still, that gives you more surface area to attack onto. So I don't know, that could have been a little bit of an interesting scenario. But either way, game number 1 goes to Team Liquid's MaNa. We'll jump into game number 2 in just a moment. Here, as you can see, 47 damage to bio units and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really nicely there. And for Minigun, he's been sticking with a much more